97, Tribes of Tokyo, Post-Mortem. And with me, as always, Mr. Tom Church, but also Caleb and Aaron as special guest.
Right. 'Tis the voice that Ross uses to make him wish he was more grown-up than he actually is.
Oh, God. You get meaner every time.
Yeah.
Like, well, it gets easier to do every time.
Okay, really,
Yeah.
do you want to get onto him when we are all
I'm
either
just saying,
full
Ross's announcer voice is steady like a rock.
Yeah.
You can depend on that. And you're escalating, sir.
Yeah.
Well, it's
How far
winter.
will you go?
It's winter. I get itchy in winter. My skin's dry, and I get like that.
I see. So this episode is being posted in February. Well, we were recording this in December because I will be out of the country for most of February. So there's no news.
Yeah.
Yes, you all hate it already.
Don't hate him because he's beautiful and a
Because
world
I
traveler.
won't fucking shut up about my...
I'll agree with half of that, Aaron.
No news. We'll cover that in episode 96.
He's
which
actually
has
Ross
not been
isn't
recorded.
trying. Ross isn't trying to hawk anything right now.
Well,
you are
I'll do-
witnessing
I'll do it.
history.
I'll do that in in 96. We're in 96.
Buy my book.
Buy
it
my-
may or may not be out.
Yes, Caleb has
By
a book, No
February.
Security, a print compilation of his No Security, Great Depression horror scenarios, which are also available as PDFs as a pay what you want, and you should actually put actual money in his.
Don't
hand.
go into the
or
Red
in
Tower.
in his account.
Yes, in my account.
Do not go into the Red Tower.
Drive through
It'll be
RPG
bad.
or Create Space.
Yes. You
If it exists yet.
if it exists,
who knows if we're going to be
This is
here
some
when this
quantum
goes out.
shit.
Schrodinger's marketing.
We're time.
If there is a product, you should buy it.
So, Tribes of Tokyo was our Night's Black Agent campaign, where I set it in Tokyo, obviously, where the players were various espionage badasses.
A forger / sniper.
It's a deep character concept.
Very
Tom.
deep.
That were pitted against a conspiracy of vampires, crazy psychic mythos vampires, and fought against them. So
And we won.
Spoiler. Depending
Why are you
on-
listening to the Post-Mortem before you listen to the campaign?
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know.
I don't think. I think saying spoilers shouldn't. I shouldn't even have to do that.
All right, fair enough.
on,
So
Steph.
the first off, let me. I'll start off by explaining the concept that where the Tribes of Tokyo.
Tell us, Ross.
Yeah. First off, obviously, I wanted to run a Night's Black Agent campaign because
Well,
Caleb and I
certainly.
both got copies at Gen Con. And we were both wanting to come up with an idea for it, but I guess I won that little race first. But I didn't want to use the European material provided in Night's Black Agents because I'm a special, unique snowflake, and I wanted to use a different city. So I thought Tokyo again because I'm a huge nerd, and I like Yakuza movies and that.
Really?
Yeah.
You
and
think?
Yakuza gangster type games. That's sort of a recurring thing for me. So that was one element, but I wanted to make it not just you fight, standard vampires in Japan. So I had to go even crazier. I was more ambitious. So I saw this post on the Delta Green email list. I'll list it in the show notes. And it described, someone came with the idea of the Long Vault. It's basically the idea that they have these time-traveling sorcerers, which are in the Cthulhu mythos from the San-Chan Empire, which is from the year 5000, which actually referenced in some of Lovecraft's original mythos stories. So they're actually canonical.
Son of a bitch.
So the idea being that the Long Vaults are basically a clever use of time travel and the resurrection spell. Basically, the sorcerers from the San-Chan Empire need psychics in the year 5000, but there aren't many psychics left in the human gene pool by the year 5000. So they figure, hey, there's lots of psychics in the real world in the year 2000 AD or 2013 AD. We'll send our mind back in time. We'll kill those people and reduce them down to their essential salts. Using the resurrection spell, store them in a mountain somewhere, in a long vault somewhere, and then just open it up in the year 5000, and hey, we could resurrect them and then sacrifice them again. It'll be great. And
Forward thinking.
yeah, forward thinking. And I thought that's really fucked up. And
Let's fire our screaming psychic missiles at the monsters.
yeah, pretty much. And this is
The
also
screaming skull.
The Longboat also references this really obscure mythos novel called The Great White Space, which is actually just like a void in the middle of this city to the beyond the realm. And so I read that. I got that novel just so I could read that, and I kind of regret that. It was an okay novel, but it didn't add nothing really usable in it. But anyway, so I read the I got the Post, and then the other influence was Speed Tribes, which is a book about Japanese youth subcultures in the 1990s in Tokyo. Everything from otaku to bosozoku, which are the motorcycle street gangs, to various petty criminals, to ultra-nationalists who are being bought out by the Yakuza, being corrupted by money. So
Rent a thug.
Yeah, rent a thug. So they're and then one guy is just like, I want to be pure. I want to be a ultra racist, ultra right wing nationalist thug, and all this money is corrupting our movement, and he gets kicked out of his own ultra right wing national.
She's like, you've changed.
Yeah, you've changed, Hollywood. So that was the setup for it, and I also wanted to make the players like in Nice Black Age. One of the things they emphasize the players are basically burned or. They don't have the endless resources of whatever parent agency they have.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like a core thing.
In a country where it's really hard to get guns.
Right. So I didn't want them to be like, you're the Japanese task force devoted to hunting vampires, or whatever. So I just had them as being security consultants who stumbled upon it, basically doing a private investigation, and then like the vampires target them because like, oh hey, those are humans who know about what we are. We need to go kill those guys, or they might know about us. So let's go kill them. So I wanted to have this kind of incidental thing where you started fighting without either side truly understanding the motives of the other side.
Isn't that how all wars start? No understanding between the two sides.
Well, yeah, but that was the thing. Like later on in the campaign, like when you guys figured out that they didn't understand what you guys were up to, and then you saw what they were up to. You're like, we could just walk away, and so it became a moral choice to stay and fight, or to it wasn't just a matter of survival. So
yeah, because. It kind of fast forwarding again, spoiler alert for those who decide to listen to this before listening to the end of the game. When we get down to the finale, it's a choice of either just living in the present, not worrying about this, or trying to save those lives in the far, far future. So,
well, there were dolls or what?
There was.
They did summon like giant death portals.
Well, okay. So in my campaign, the reason why Shing, who I basically made the sorcerer, his name is Shing, and there's just one guy, and he needs all these psychics to sacrifice, and his motive was that he's an immortal sorcerer, and he's got so much Cthulhu Mythos sorcery, he could basically send him become a minor great old one, but he doesn't want to. He likes being human in question marks, quote marks, but. He doesn't want to be dragged off to be an old one and lose all connection to his decadent vices and all this other shit.
First being Kerwin to now you know.
Exactly. And so in the year 5000, basically Nyarlathotep gets tired with his shit and sends a great nasty thing to go kill him. A great old one. And Shing finds a way to hold it off using a ritual that requires sacrifice of humans. If he can get enough sacrifice humans, he can kill it. So he needs a shitload of ammo, basically, for his spells. Ingredients for his spells, and
Jamestown levels of bullets.
Yeah, something like that. So that's the basic motive of him, is just to hold on to basically sit on Earth and despoil it and be an asshole. But yeah, that's why the monster was there in the first place. It was to kill him. Of course, it would probably cause massive collateral damage as well, but
Nyarlathotep doesn't care.
Well, yeah. Well, come on. Yeah, the mythos.
Well, I was talking about the things the cultists summoned before.
Oh yeah, those were Chthonians. That caused the earthquake. Yeah, those are just like their weapon, a cult weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, see, like I enjoyed the game, and I thought there were many moral choices, but in terms of like taking Shing down, it never occurred to me as like a moral choice. It's just like, I promise I won't come after you if you guys leave.
Yeah.
Like, oh really? You promise? Immortal vampire sorcerer. Well, let me just take that one to heart. Like, it was never
like a handshake.
The last time a vampire promised something to me, I got shot in a sewer, which is not good for open wounds.
Yeah.
And it never occurred to me as like, we could just walk away.
That's right.
But it's understandable on your end.
The thing is, like with that, you're you were so good at that, you could remain hidden, and if you go to the other side of the world, Shing would not be highly motivated to hunt.
Fair enough.
So you could have basically the idea was
I could have spent the rest of my life
in hide,
cowering in fear.
Yeah, cowering in fear.
Great.
Yeah,
Which is not something
or
your character
like
would ever
risk
do.
a fate worse than death by going after the big badass. So that was the kind of thing I wanted to
And
do.
granted, if another sequel campaign had sprung up from this, you could have been the insane old man that we went in for Nation for.
Yeah.
So, wait, they're in America now? Fuck.
No, you'd be one of those three sorcerers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was one of the other things. Later on in the campaign, I ran a prequel game, so the players would see Shing in a different time, and also so I'd have to start the campaign with on the actual.
I still love it. My character from that was the Guardian.
Yeah, who showed up in the last session?
Asshole.
Because Tom sided with Shing. Shing
Surprise.
rewarded you.
Do you know how hard it was to kill your ass?
Yeah, I was there.
I burned my own hand off with thermite. Like,
Yeah.
damn.
Was I just like a mummified samurai?
It's listed in the Nice Black Agents game as like the Dragor. It had like pools of 20 to 30 points for all its
I literally ended up cutting you in half like you were a German barrel of a massive cannon. Like,
It was pretty fun. But we're skipping around a little bit. So that was the main concept. So the actual mechanics of how Shing was doing this was he sent memories back to his previous incarnations. Hey, here's a formula for a drug that will make people psychics. Now you need to distribute this drug somehow, get a lot of people, make them psychic, then find them, kidnap them, kill them, and store them in the long vault. Build a long vault, by the way.
You're gonna need one of those.
BTW.
Yeah, BDW. And of course, in order to do this, Shing couldn't do this all by himself, so he was also given a new ritual that would take one of his memories, imprint it into someone else, imbuing them with a fragment of his power. But this power would eventually kill the person unless they drank human blood to stay stabilized. Hence vampires. So the vampire conspiracy. So there's a minor thing where the vampires had some sort of random memory from Shing, and that was an early on element, and I sort of mentioned that several times in the beginning. But that kind of faded away as you guys took it in a different direction. At this point, let's... and then the drug itself, Lao, is basically... I got the idea from Reverb, which is from Delta Green Countdown, the Tiger Transit chapter.
With the question off of Reverb, was the original idea for it being radioactive from Delta Green, or is that something that you put in?
I put that in there.
Was that just for us to have an ease of tracking?
Yes.
Okay.
By the way, it's actually mentioned as one of the possibilities in Nice Black Agents, like
No.
as kind of like in passing as a joke. Make them radioactive. It's one
Yeah.
like
By the way,
vampire creation.
The vision of flowers growing out of concrete. Very nice.
I like that. I wanted to make it a really fucked up kind of alien, like, why is this, thing here?
I was like, why do I got to make a sand check looking at a flower? Oh, shit!
There's no cracks there. It's just
So that's kind of the general setup. So Shing sets up the vampires to go distribute the drug, detect people who use it long enough, become psychic, and then take them out. And that's his scheme, is to make it a party drug, and then so the people who take it aren't going to be missed. Especially in a huge society like Tokyo.
not like a liver treatment drug or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Grandma's psychic now.
And now she was taken in the night.
Well, that's just like Grandma.
And
If I had a nickel for every time she was taken in the night, I'd have 5 nickels.
So that's kind of the and then the players enter in it because one of the vampires kidnaps or takes out the mistress of a prominent politician. The prominent politician obviously suspects nothing, hires the players as PIs to find out who this guy is because he thinks it's one of his enemies, cat's paw one of his enemies, or he's just paranoid, or just like, I want my mistress back. And so the players just inadvertently discover the vampire conspiracy. Oops. So that's where we start. So this was using, again, Gumshoe, Nice Black Agents. We had varying reactions of how the rules of Nice Black Agents. Certainly, there's a certain learning curve, as there is with every new game we try. So we had the same kind of learning curve with Eclipse Phase and blah blah I mean, what do you guys? We'll just go from Aaron to Aaron. What was your reaction to?
I would say it probably wasn't as extreme as some of our other members, but it did take a little bit to used to because
Aaron was looking directly at me, by the way, when he said
Well,
that.
Jason's not here.
Jason's not here for that, so it wasn't table flipping as some of us could have gone. The only thing that it kind of threw me for a curve initially were the cherries and how to update those, because I really didn't get that at the moment, and I think I probably used them the least of anybody in the group. Granted,
though, our listeners have done statistical analysis to determine.
Yeah. So, but just from my personal memories, I don't remember using that. But once I got used to we just take check marks off of here for what we need to do as spending instead of just rolling dice.
I remember Jason's not here, but because he's moved to another city. But I do remember him talking about it after a game. One of the reasons why I didn't like Gumshoe was that he didn't like the idea of you have to spend before you roll, and that created and then point spending in general, that the mechanics in him created a sense of anxiety that he didn't like, and because he has this choice.
Is Jason, you said, right?
Yeah, Jason. And he didn't like that because, in other games you just roll. You don't have a choice, so that's just how you make the roll. So there's no point in getting but you could, and if you don't do the right, oh God, you have control, so you have more anxiety about it. So I mentioned this to Robin Laws at Gen Con this year, and he actually said, that's intentional. It's supposed to create anxiety in the players.
To me, that makes sense because whatever supernatural force you're going against, they're obviously going to be stronger, and throughout
just not even with supernatural, just making the die roll, rolling a single d6, but deciding ahead of time if you're going to spend or not.
Yeah, but also whatever, it kind of makes your decisions have a little more permanency to the point that if it really fails, you have a little off to back up instead of just retrying the same thing over and over again.
Well, and the point spend for investigative abilities, because you could lose that point and you've run out of points before you have all in before you have.
And that's, I think, why I didn't like it is it didn't make any sense that you can suddenly cease to be good at something you were good at, is what it really seemed to me.
Well, you never if it's plot necessary information, you just get it.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm not. I'm more talking about. I'm talking shooting. You could be a badass, and then suddenly at some point, you ran out of shooting points, so you're suddenly not as good at that.
Well, to me, that kind of represents the stresses that you're going on through combat. That eventually, no matter how badass you are, if eventually you're going to run out of stamina and your shots are going to start going wild.
But it's not often one scene. It often goes longer. It's multiple scenes.
Well,
that's what the refresh was for.
You can refresh points. That there were ways of doing that. Physical abilities you could refresh with rest. So it was representing stamina. You your ability to shoot, maintain focus. Shooting under combat conditions for an extended period of time, I imagine, is mentally taxing.
I'm saying why I didn't like it at the time.
Okay. Fair enough.
You're not talking about the reasons it's one of my favorite systems.
Yeah.
So the
anxiety, or did you feel like that there was anxiety when you should I spend this point to get this bonus now, or should I save it in case we need it?
Yeah, but that's it's narrative. Okay, I will admit to this. I am a power gamer. I'm just not a power gamer in that I want to be an accountant and look how certain numbers provide better margins, which is 90% of power gaming. Because A, I think the numbers are there to get you to a story, and B, that just bores the living piss out of me. Whereas in Gumshoe, it's all about when you spin and making your spin the most powerful as it can be at the moment, which A, encourages your character to be in the spotlight. So it's all about spotlight moments for different people in the campaigns because you don't all have the same skills, and so you've got to give everybody a job that's vital, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
It keeps you from having a party full of clerics in a horror game. and then secondly, you need to understand narrative mechanics and flow. I need to understand that this fight 30 minutes into the game probably isn't the big climax, and that if I get my ass kicked, it makes the climax better, not worse. And I also have a chance to survive rather than spending 8 points in shooting to kill newbie McGoonface when Dracul himself is coming for me in 2 hours. And it gives a sense of narrative climax if you are preparing for that. And I think it emulates a plot better than your typical, I roll, I kick ass. I roll, I kick ass. I'm terrible. I roll, I kick ass. I'm terrible. I think it builds to a point. You're either exhausted by the climax because holy shit, you've had a lot. In which case your character's suffering.
Yeah.
And that gives you pathos and makes a better story. Or you're getting your ass kicked at the early parts of the stages, and it's all like a leverage-esque, ruse. You were really in control all along, and then you whip the shit out of somebody, and your character feels like a badass. Like, it's either one or the other in Nice Black Ages because you have to make those spins.
Yeah, the control.
Yeah, it's a gradual build-up, other than just instant gratification of being a murder hobo.
Yeah, so I think it's a better emulationist of an actual plot than randomly rolling and hoping you get a good score.
That's that's I like that perspective.
Which is why I love the game.
Yeah, Tom, any thoughts?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Once again, I'm commenting on my mindset while I was playing.
Yeah.
I think the primary reason I didn't like it is because mainly I realized I cared nothing for my character.
Okay.
And that's because it was like...
What's your character concept again, Todd?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Would you like me to explain it again?
Yes, it was so deep and varied.
Very well. I played a forger. Now, wait, there's more. Who was a master sniper.
How old were you again?
23 years old.
A common skill set for 23 years old.
Exactly.
Okay,
in Japan.
To defend this kind of character concept,
please do, Aaron. I want to hear this.
it is not that far off from the character of Sosei Sagara from Full Metal Panic. You were like that, except a little
great.
more
I made
insane.
Did you have any military experience, Tom?
I did not.
No, you sat in your bedroom and somehow became a world-class sniper.
I said
Forger of documents.
which I said video games.
How many did you have in that? Like
You put 5 at first, and I told you don't put all your points into foraging.
like in the book, it says if you have 3 points, you are literally in the top 10 in the world. Well, you had like
Okay,
6.
so on that,
I'm the president. Yes, you are.
I did not
Actually, had the sight.
He's got the president's ID.
All right, I did not have the book, so I did not know this.
Okay.
And I did make the change.
You did.
But okay, the reason was I think it boils down to we didn't do a one-shot intro to the system in the game.
Yeah.
We just jumped right into a campaign.
Yeah.
And while making my character, I was like,
Lost,
it's kind of like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Shit. So I basically just looked at. In this case, I didn't actually have time to think of a character. I was just, all right, what is everyone else playing? Oh, we already got that. What class here looks forger or cobbler? All right, I'll do that.
Okay.
That's essentially, and a character made like that, I'm not going to get into.
Okay.
So I was suffering through that the whole game.
I mean, that's good. We did, for Eclipse Phase, play several one-shots before we did.
By the time we did a campaign, I knew it, and I was ready. I was ready for it.
I mean, the thing was with with Eclipse Phase, the reason I ran the one-shots first is because I wasn't familiar with the system. None of us were. But with Night's Black Agent, because it was Gumshoe, I felt pretty comfortable running it already because we had.
Well, I barely played that at all anyway.
Well, we played multiple
like in
one-shots.
basic procedures.
With basic procedures, we played.
But it's the same system, but there's other. It was a different game.
Yeah, it was a different game.
It is crunchier than
It is. Like, Gumshoe has like gone through several iterations, and like we played mostly Fear itself, which is the simplest and the first version of it, and then. And we didn't even try Trail of Cthulhu for a while, and then we jumped straight into.
But
Trail only gets crunchier in the.
But I suddenly,
Sanity
is what I was
rolls.
thinking about this now, and I realized I had that I don't care about my character hanging over my head the entire campaign.
Yeah.
Which I think, and that was making little minor quibbles I would have had a lot worse.
Sure.
Because I was already going in with a negative mindset.
Sure.
So I would say that. So now, like I said, would you try it again? Yes, I would try it again.
Okay.
Now that I know,
Caleb's going to hold you to that.
There's so many flowcharts for us.
That was another thing.
I've made so many.
One thing about Night's Black Agent is there is what they call the Conspiramid, which is a great portmanteau Conspiramid, because you build a pyramid flowchart representing the conspiracies, and the idea, the basic
at the top, and
the basic idea is you build your own Conspiramid as the GM to like the players take out Agency 1, Organization 1, and they get leads to Organization 2, and then maybe Organization 1 tier above, and so they work their way up. And every time they do that, they gain bonuses, like they gain a bonus pool that they can use when taking down another organization. So like you gain 6 dots of firearms or infiltration because you gained this intel about them. You know where the guards
this level of the Illuminati, and then you go.
Yeah, it also made me realize
they don't like being shot with guns.
and also, I also think when I was thinking vampire, I was kind of thinking more traditional vampire.
Yeah.
Which ones? And now I can think I'm glad you didn't go that route. But while I was playing, so their only weakness is incredible massive damage.
Well, that was
besides Ebola, which that's easy to get a hold of, and their own drug, which. Why the fuck?
You didn't know that. That was the thing.
Exactly.
I thought you guys would at least try to see what the interaction between the crazy psychic MacGuffin drug and the vampires would have been. So yeah, no, that.
I mean, and
most vampires don't own garlic factories. It did not occur to me.
Right.
Yeah, and in fact, I think that opinion came from our very first fight with I think it was Jungo in our office.
Yeah.
At that point, you're like, I think. A lot of them were saying, "Okay, Ross, he better be fucking dead right now." And you're like, "Well, I don't know." Like you look like, "No. We have put hundreds of rounds into him, blew him up, knocked him out of a plate glass window, crashed
I literally put a car on him.
Yeah,
and then shot him in the head.
I think it's like I remember that point. The whole group was no, Ross. He is
vampire.
dead.
No, he basically you have to do their entire health damage in one round to kill them.
Yeah.
And so with the explosion and the car wreck simultaneously, that was enough. And that was their basically thing. Like that's not even the highest level of regeneration health that vampires can have in Ice Black Age. The other is just like they can't be hurt except outside of their bane. That was me. So I wanted to make their weakness something unusual, and so I did have their memories, but that didn't get really played up. So that was an idea I had, but kind of fell by the wayside.
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't realize that the memory thing was happening until I read your notes for this episode.
Right. Well, I did put notes that reference hints to it in the first episode when you guys ransacked Jungo's apartment, the drug dealer's apartment, because he's obsessed over taking landscape photos.
Unfortunately, I was a forger who was a sniper.
Right.
Well, I mean, we didn't even know. Yeah, but they're Shing's memories, correct?
Yes.
We didn't even know Shing existed until episode 6 or 7.
Right.
Yeah. We didn't even know.
You know that he has strange he has these strange thoughts that he's.
I know that he had those strange thoughts, but linking those to Shing, in episode.
We didn't have to link the Shing. You just had to use the strange thoughts against him.
Okay.
So if you brought up a picture of the landscape, if you showed him his photos, he would have been stunned by it.
I don't think we even found that out until after we killed him.
Yeah, well, no, you found his apartment. You found his apartment before.
Oh, yeah, we did.
But that was a connection that we didn't make.
But then again, would we really have gone when we encountered him? Hey, remember this picture?
Yeah. I'd have done anything I could to get him to stop from murdering.
Well, you could have. I thought you guys would try and use it as blackmail, hey, stop it or we'll burn your photos.
But that wasn't something
which
that we
he clearly valued. So
yeah, but we considered going. We were just considering going up against a monster this entire time, and especially most of that information would have come from the Reverb investigation, which we were taking baby steps along the way.
Well, I mean, no. Again, the main thing I was thinking was you had the photos. He valued you, and you could have used them as leverage against him in negotiation. But you guys he's breaking into our office, killed. So that was.
Hi, Ross. We're player characters. Have we met?
That's just how it went. So
I actually thought the campaign was going to be over in episode 2 because we were all arrested and there was an interrogation scene. I didn't see.
Oh yeah,
I didn't see half of us getting out of that. I am a spy in hunting vampires. Here is my social security number.
That was.
Would you like my wallet and fingerprints?
I need to scan those. I need to.
Perhaps a DNA sample.
Yeah. So listeners at home, I had the players at the beginning before we started recording. I gave them a police report that they had to write out and describe what they were doing. Where they just asked them basically, and they couldn't collaborate. You couldn't have Caleb or David
I thought it was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
I thought you just did your own game. You're all in prison forever. Good job. Congrats.
But the players, so the players found out, but my plan was that they had the politician backing them, who hired them, was still protecting them from the police. So they got released anyways. The problem was that the information got leaked to the vampires.
Yeah.
So, the players who
Mom?
So the trap was putting your own home address in the police report. And then, the player, the vampires
Totes didn't do.
Which you didn't do.
Oh, no.
My mom got kidnapped.
Your mom, because you put in your home address, and they found that. And
I'm part of the police, I'm not going to lie. So, you know what? No, I make no apologies whatsoever. I didn't know vampires were controlling the alcohol.
I know.
Police department.
I thought police were honorable.
Well,
Exactly.
All those cop shows I watched are
but it generated more story and drama, so it was worth it.
At the end of the day, we did well.
Yeah, so that was kind of a gimmick, I know, but I just wanted.
No, it only mostly bit us in the ass, so that's fine. I just thought you'd ended your own game.
I did not know that. I did not realize that. But yeah, no, I wasn't going to have everyone be arrested. Like, obviously,
I was realizing, but yeah, the vampire. It's like now at this point, whenever the vampire showed up, I wasn't thinking, oh man, here we go. I'm thinking, oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, like, all right, we're going to have to think up another way to do 16 trillion damage to this guy in one hit.
Again, my favorite part of the game.
But that's the thing with because the thing is, in standard RPGs, if an enemy is like following the same rules for injury and death that player characters do, like any fight with the player characters, they use all their abilities, every special ability they can on the villain, and then the crits come out and like the villain dies. If there any way, if like the players are really...
No, I felt challenged. I felt like a badass when we took one down.
Once again, at the time, I didn't like it.
I'm gonna bitch about it though.
Oh, well, and actually,
it was demoralizing to be there with like an empty gun. I've turned the water into gasoline. I'm electrocuting it, and it's still
killed him.
Eventually, I killed one of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The fresh one, not the old one that was still hunting us down for 8 games. Who, by the way, I stabbed with his bane, Ebola, ran a car into, and then blew up with C4. Collapsing a warehouse.
Which, and by the way,
to not kill it.
And by the way, and of course, imagine that. Like, if I didn't have McCaffrey as a contact, we wouldn't be able to do any of that.
Well, no, I was going to let you have guns, but that McAfee was just more entertaining.
No, totally.
But no, it works out with that, and if I might be able to cite another anecdote in relation to this about having villains that the player characters can take down in a couple hits, if they were equal on there. Back in for an Andy's game, there was a villain that came up one time named Crux. He had spent, I have no idea how many hours developing this guy because he was supposed to be somebody major. We were going to interrogate. We were going to get a lot of information out of him. Tom, how long did it take you to kill him by accident?
1 hit.
Yeah.
Because of how overpowered that was and just the luck of the roll. So.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, once again, no. Now, going back, I really enjoy it, but I can even see just, like, it says, our guy can be like, we think he might be one of them, like... Do we have any explosives left?
Yeah.
Because I just imagine now all of our characters... Oh, god damn it. All right, do we have any grenade launchers? Can we get some? No, of course not.
By the way, I'd already blown up Bowie with an entire parking lot's worth of cars.
No, that was his thugs. He was.
Oh, he didn't show up.
He sent his goons out in front of him.
I thought he was amongst them.
No,
at that point,
he was smarter than that.
Okay, and now, like, in just fun, I would love to go up to one of those vampires. Like, why do you have goons? You don't need them.
But
they're like,
it's not about like combat. It's about doing the shit work.
It's about laziness.
Yeah. Like, they don't want to have to go out. They have to sell the drugs to the people. Remember, that's their job. And they don't want to have to go and, like...
Stand on a street corner.
Or go in a club and, like, pass out.
Well, fine, but, but don't send them after us. Like,
they thought you were normal people. Like, they didn't think you were...
Well, very clearly, we're not. That was their fault.
You noticed their tactics changed, like...
So in that case, we should have just had a scene, like... All right, look.
Anyway, vampires are hard to fight.
Yeah, they're very fucking hard to fight.
Well, I mean, the thing in Nice by Gage is you design your vampires. You custom.
I guess the complaint was if they still had kind of more traditional things. I think we could have a little more. Yeah, even if they were that powerful, we could have planned for it a little easier. Like we could have used daylight and night time to.
We eventually started like coding weapons in the drug.
Yeah,
that was the. But that was the raid.
Yeah.
Pretty much the raid.
Yeah, and you drop them easily.
Like, but that was the last fight.
Yeah.
That was the second to last fight.
That's how you decided to unlock that last. So,
well, no, the thing is, it was unlocked.
We got system shocked, okay?
Yeah.
Well, put our points in the wrong shit.
Yeah.
Was it even system shocked?
We unlocked it, but the skill tree wasn't visible.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what was the next tier.
It worked out.
It worked out.
Eventually worked out. Yeah, what are you gonna do? It's
in one way.
You just have to death trap harder.
It's freaking vampires. What are you gonna do?
I thought it worked pretty well. I mean,
but I actually love that became my reaction. It's not, oh shit, there's vampires. It's, God damn it, there's vampires.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if I made them any, just normally resistant and gave them more vulnerabilities, you would have, combat would have been easier.
Once again, at the time, I didn't like it, but now I actually love that was my reaction. Just, God damn it.
See, I don't know how to get, something like, oh, God, a vampire, more than once, because after the first time, you're like, oh, shit, oh, God,
well,
and then...
the more I thought about it, the more I realized, I think just sighing in resignation when we know there's going to be one was far preferable to, fear, just... Because we know, we're screwed anyway.
All right.
Or it's civilization at that point was screwed. So it's now, well, shit.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
So, aside from talking about the system itself, you brought up characterization a little bit, and you've already described your problems with it, which...
I think all my problems with the game stemmed from that original one.
No, and running a one-shot before we do the main game is something we should do next time.
To bring up something else...
What about you?
Well, the only other thing that I saw is a possible issue. It was a little bit, I know with Tom, it was actually, from what I discussed with Jason, a slightly major issue. Was the setting in Japan specifically that he didn't carry as much foreknowledge on that.
I had that problem too.
Which is, well, I would say for other players may have taken a little disadvantage because between Ross, Caleb, and myself, we have kind of that trifecta of otaku, yakuza movies, and then
you, whatever the fuck you are.
and then other crime things. So,
thanks, guys.
Sorry. You're welcome. Other crimes. But I actually do apologize. I didn't know what other knowledge you were bringing to that one too. But it seemed that you were drawn in a little bit more. Or for my character, because Ross and I talked about this, about dropping other otaku things like the really, really creepy ass maid cafes.
Well, I did actual research. So
you actually looked up the
Conti, the Tokyo Police Report, responsible for guarding the Prime Minister.
Yeah,
which is the only thing I can imagine, because Japan, ever since the demilitarization after World War II, did not have a very robust intelligence service. Or if they do, they're fucking ninjas, and we've never heard of them.
I actually did a lot of research on that as well, and from what I can tell, there are several spy agencies that are mostly concerned with North Korea and China.
Yeah, but they're usually sub-branches of the Self-Defense Force or the Tokyo Police Department.
Yeah.
They're not
independent
like Mossad or
And there's
CIA
also a lot of partnerships with the CIA.
Yeah.
There's a lot of working there. So,
So that became my character concept, is guy who used to sit in vans and listen to the Prime Minister.
Unfortunately, the American mob is more what I think of when I think of organized crime. I know of the Yakuza. I know a bit about it, but it's not my wheelhouse.
Well, I mean, I understand,
which is fine. I think you need to play games outside your wheelhouse once every.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I was running the game, I tried to describe it in as neutral, as many neutral terms as I could. I didn't I didn't say, oh, he's the Oyobun. No, he's the crime boss or whatever. He's the Yakuza boss. And I tried to, it's a bar, it's a hotel. I even started giving characters, Americanized type, or literally American nicknames, like American Joe.
It should be noted here that this is not a fault of the campaign.
Yeah. No, it's...
Jason didn't want to learn names that weren't Steve. That's not a problem with the campaign.
Yeah.
Especially when you play fantasy games where everybody's named Lucindracell and too many consonants and and everybody's rolling that shit off the tongue and it's pronounced no, Caleb. Yeah. Not D-hole, it's Dole. Oh, no, monocle. And then you say, and then somebody says Akira and they're like, what just came out of your mouth? Stop that gibberish.
So, but it's something that I at least I was kind of feeling a little bad on my side, just because when you brought things looking at oh god, yeah, we'll go to Shinjuku and Akihabara, all these major nerd centers, or the fact that when we were bringing up the otaku thing, I specified, no, I'm going to do it with one of the Sentai series just for those who people don't know, that's what all of Power Rangers is based off of. So I was just looking up some obscure, what's the one I can do? Aba Ranger! Yeah, that's great. I'll bring up that stupid
The thing is, I more kind of used it, I played my character as kind of a shut-in.
Yeah.
So, I don't ever go to those places.
Well, the thing is, I tried to make it, I didn't try to just use foreign terms and use foreign, things just for the sake of being foreign. I tried to make it... I wanted to strike a balance between making a Tokyo that was interesting, but not just... generic big city, I didn't want to do that.
No, and put in the elements that would make it unique versus just...
So, to make it...
And I did, once again, when we were doing this, originally have great, Japan. fantastic. We're going to have this in a place I know jack shit about.
Well, that was the thing. I was trying to make it to where you didn't have to know it.
But once again, much like I had that just hovering over me all the time.
Well, I think characterization-wise, I think the reason I had way more fun in it is because it's not just that, like, researching my character's background. I wanted to play a Japanese character. Like, Haru was very Japanese, like, down to his name. Like, Kano is the name of Jigoro Kano, which is judo. Yeah. And that's how I learned a bunch about Japan. So, like, and that's what I was flavor texting all my martial arts.
Oh, yes, for the
using all the actual Japanese terms. And I also tried to, like, live him to judo's aesthetic, which is, like, roughly translated as maximum efficiency with minimum effort. Like, you don't go haul out, you wait until there's a pressure point, and then you poke that as hard as you can. Like, so I was trying to play a very Japanese person.
Yeah.
And I think that's why...
Stoical, emotionally damaged to the point of near autism, just very, very Japanese.
Yeah, and that's actually why I think I had so much fun bouncing my character off of you, just because I was playing Shinji as part of that newer, younger 20 generation that doesn't really care about the cultural background, is completely wanting to live in the moment and not worried about carrying on a family or a tradition.
Well, I think
which created a lot of good friction between characters.
I eventually used my ignorance, so I just tried to make Kazuo just, he likes Western culture more than he does his own.
Right. Which is actually a thing. So, like, in a sense, all your characters, I think, worked out well. I mean,
and I should say I wasn't playing. I wasn't trying to play an actual Japanese person. I was trying to play like a Japanese character.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to play Bato from Ghost in the Shell if you had kicked him away from the computer. Like,
which
if he had to go outside.
I think we were all playing we were all trying to play Japanese characters, not Japanese, because we can't do that.
Right. Well, and it's a role-playing game, and, there's...
But and I'm glad we
time-traveling psychic vampires.
And I'm glad we did...
Realism is not the core concept.
Well, I'm glad we didn't try.
Yeah.
To play Japanese people.
I mean, do you think, like, the elements in terms of, like, the actual campaign, do you think it worked? Did you feel like you were actually in Tokyo? Or
once again, I think we didn't have all the information, but once again, that was kind of our fault.
Right. Well...
there were times I felt like when we went to the fish market and like went to basically just a big empty concrete building to do crimes and shit, or when we blew up the main club, or... there were some very good set pieces.
Sunshine 60, hands down.
Rescuing me from the interrogation.
The cafe, or being, or the one instance where we were doing the, when you had me dress up in the full Red Ranger outfit.
I didn't. You
actually chose.
Okay,
chose. I said I wanted a character. I said I wanted a character from a kids show, and he chose Pikachu.
I chose Pikachu. Yeah.
You chose Power Ranger.
So first thing.
And by the way, and once again, I think you had one of the greatest suggestions that I wish we could have done. To this day, I wish we could have done it. It's just, have him point at someone he wants me to shoot when I was in the sniper perch while he was in the Pikachu suit. Just,
Chew.
Pikachu.
I just sort of say, chew, very light, and then the guy's head explodes.
We'll have to do an alternate universe. It's just
Gaiden.
Yeah, Gaiden. Side story.
Or actually, the other one is when we were doing the investigation in the warehouse for the collective that was producing the drug, having to do the sales pitch with them as well, and going into one of those multi-tiered offices that are just like very small or cramped back in the way. I absolutely loved that. So,
personally, I really like I wish my only regret is that I couldn't have put more gunfights into the G-cans, the massive storm drain system that they have, because that place is totes awesome. Totes my goats. I think so. Overall, I think I kind of achieved what I wanted for in terms of like making it different from generic city enough and retaining some of that flavor without making it like too exotic that everyone was lost. I mean, obviously some people more than others.
Well, the thing is, like, I can just picture like you running that in Tokyo was the same way I'd run something in New York.
Yeah,
because I love using the city itself when it's a city I know really well.
Right. But speaking of setting, later on in the campaign, I was wanting to be more ambitious. So I had the idea of like using what happens if you use the time traveling drug, and you guys
You almost got me, Peyton.
Excited listeners.
What episode was that?
That
8?
was 10.
Yeah, no. Okay, Peyton almost got me. First 5 or 6 games. I'm like, all right, where's the Shoggoth? Where's the Sithonian? When's 9/11 Def come? I'm just waiting for it. Just waiting for it. We're getting to like 7 or 8. I'm like, I don't think he's gonna do it. I think they might be actual vampires. They're a little weird. But that's good. They're just weird, different vampires. He's not gonna bam Yithian vampires. And I'm just like, God damn it! You got me, Peyton. I should have seen that coming.
You had me for a moment.
Yeah,
I should have been looking for elder signs this entire time.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted the Longbows of Deltarinium was very Cthulhu mythos, but I didn't want to like one thing for me is like I want to make it in the sense like what Delta Green always does in their scenarios. I've always admired Glancy and their team is whenever they write a scenario, they make it like what would it happen if it wasn't a Cthulhu mythos. They try to have it make sense from that perspective, so they don't do what a lot of Cthulhu scenarios do, which is like, hey, this scenario is there's elder signs and there's the Necronomicon and you are fighting the old one. It's like a very Arkham horror kind of thing where like everything's
trying to get its own life without just falling back on the.
It's just like if the Cthulhu mythos was real, like it would be hard as shit to actually realize you're in the Cthulhu mythos universe. Like that's the big reveal and like holy shit, like this is weird. So like I try and hold off like on that unless it makes sense. And so in this case, once you travel in the far future, oh shit, yeah, Cthulhu. So, but in terms of the actual game, the scenario, I had actually toyed with the idea of running it in another system, but for time I decided to give that up because it would have
You have done more than toy with that idea at this point, Ross.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I was waiting for. Like Mouse Guard, Mouse Guard Agents, and Willy Wonka, Eclipse Phase, Dirty World, whatever bastard fusion of mechanics and not story you roll together into one.
Yeah, I kind of do that a lot.
Yeah, you do. Jenga, wild talents, and
so that was one.
Hey, we're RPPR. We try different things.
Yeah, we try different things. So
also, I claim copyright on the mouse.
So what do you think? What do you think of that session? Did you think it achieved what? I mean, what?
I love the optimistic bleakness that it had. It's like the pilgrims have come. Who wishes to give themselves to this noble cause? Like, you get people like.
You're all popping their necks. So I get a bonus on my stats. Do babies give me more? I'll eat a baby.
Except for Aaron. I love that Aaron stood true to himself and was like, no, and like kept like suffering as a result.
Oh yeah, it's like eat a baby. No. And, of course we had our 2 special guests keep trying to come in and tempt me with other things. Would you like to talk about that, Caleb?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
So, unless I'm thinking of a wrong game, which
I was playing the
guy.
Monk guy.
Yeah, he was.
Which I like to think of as the motivational speaker for.
Yeah.
Well, what I appreciated most about that is you let me not play my character because like I know it's a bullshit move in like 99% of the time. It might have been a bullshit move on my part to be like my character wouldn't do that just to be a Jason and like wander the city for 40 minutes by yourself and just stop all narrative momentum in the game, right? But my character was a recovering alcoholic in his 50s fighting a vampire that had tried to kill him on dozens of occasions at that point, who said, let's make a truce. All you have to do is inject this strange substance into your veins. I could not in any way figure out a narrative backflip to justify why my character would do that. Like, it seemed like a just completely insane idea.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you letting me say Haru is just...
Yeah.
I'm out for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. Anyways, So anyway, I appreciate that. But the thing is, for me as a GM, I understood that. So like the fact that it gave me enough time to come up with a reason. And actually, it was helpful for me because with the guide character, I was someone for the players to play against. I didn't want to play the guide. And just feed shit to players forever. So like all it meant for me was a little extra work in giving you a handout that was just explaining what your role was, which is in the notes somewhere. I think towards.
And then Haru could still go talk to the.
Have his one scene with the politician.
Which was vital for the plot, because I did not know a lot before we talked to that guy.
That's how. For me, like I know a lot of the answers were sort of in the back end, and they weren't evenly distributed out throughout the campaign. But I think that's kind of like how this kind of game works.
No, it's a conspiracy. God, how many games of No Evil did you have no idea what Banjapa was up to? I'm not complaining.
Or we even got his name.
That's true. So that's a good point. So in terms of the actual that session itself, in terms of finding out what Shing needed this sidekicks for and all this other shit, and just traveling through the crazy fucked up plans. I know. Just talking about influences, I was influenced by a novel, The Nightland. Actually, I read a rewriting of The Nightlands called The Nightlands Retold, because it's a public domain novel, so somebody just rewrote it so it would actually have. Like, the original version doesn't have dialogue in it. Like, it's just a guy traveling through the wilderness, and, like, it's got really beautiful imagery, or, like, really fucked up kind of imagery. It's, like, one of the major influences of Lovecraft. But it's hard to read.
Weird fiction does not age well.
No. 1912, English writer, So the Nightlands Retold makes it more palatable, and I've just burned through that. It's on Kindle, and, like, I really liked it, because it's just this incredibly fucked up, distant, post-apocalyptic future where they just, like, the people live in this pyramid, and there's just they're surrounded by all these fucked up monsters that make no goddamn sense, and they want to kill everyone inside, and the people do is just watch the monsters. That's their hobby. It's just like their pastime is like, oh, there's the giant who's 100,000 years old, and he's moving an inch a century towards us, and when he gets to us, we're dead. Yeah, he flapped his ears. Oh God, what does that mean? And there's the mountain that screams. It screams. We don't know why. And there's that fire. There's the blue fire pit, and there's the red fire pit.
I read the summary of it, and then I looked. Somebody's drawn like a really intricate map of it. Online, and I was just like, I'm not gonna read this book. It's like crazy as shit.
It is.
But it's
and that map. Like they only have he goes past the bound beyond the horizon of the pyramid, so he sees shit that no one in his people's ever seen. Like, what is going on? It's just crazy as hell. So I wanted to give it that kind of sense of what the fuck? Not just generic post-apocalyptic, but really, really weird post-apocalyptic. So that was kind of what I was going for, and in terms of finding that and all that other shit. So any other thoughts about the time travel game?
What was in that wall with that was sanity rending on the way to the city? We passed by. It had all the carvings in it, and
the ring. There was a ring. There the rings that open up into nothingness.
I don't know. I thought there was a wall with a bunch of different carvings on it that we passed, and before we fought the dog things in the city.
Let's see. There's the mountain of Endless Babel, which again direct call out to Nightlands.
Oh, that was that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no. There's also the Hall of Green Lights.
Hall of Green Lights. That was it. What was in there?
Just cosmic horror. That's also from the Nightlands.
Just cosmic horror.
There's a giant castle in the Nightlands. No one knows who built it, and there's strange lights out of it, and it's just evil. And if you go,
so if we'd gone in there, we just died.
Yeah, you just died.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I would ask, what was the one item that you were disappointed that we didn't take from the weapons cache? Because I know I ended up grabbing the shotgun with the dragon's breath.
It was probably the disc blade, again another Nightlands reference where it's just.
Oh, that's the end. Oh, the end one.
Yeah.
But then there's the broken rings, which actually, it was actually a broken particle collider that had quantum holes of nothing.
I wish I'd taken more when David and I were fighting Tom's character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, you didn't even fight your own bastard traitor of a character.
Yeah.
I had no doubt you could take me on and win.
So going on into the finale, the players.
I think David was literally a hit point away from death.
Oh yeah,
and I was -3 or something.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It was my character from another game, Mummified.
Yeah, that was your character from the prequel because you decided to side with Shing in the prequel game.
Bastard.
And because you could have actually weakened Shing, and he wouldn't have had the Chthonians in the finale if you had taken the Iron Bandit box away. But no, you well, why did you side with him again, Tom?
Honestly, don't remember that game.
Great.
Lost to history.
Fair enough.
You are not forgiven.
Or maybe I do know, and I'm just not saying.
So yeah, the finale with the raid on the abandoned village, and then the portal to the Long Vault itself. Let's see. I know there was one reference. The group of ghouls there was actually also from the same poster on the Delta Green email list. Who actually the ghouls were North Koreans, who there was like they had their own brigade of mythos sorcerer who they were basically trained ghouls. Like the North Koreans have a lot of dead bodies they can feed the ghouls, and so they're like. They're called like the Ghost Fox Brigade, or the guy came up with this idea of them as being North Korean's mythos unit, and so of course they're making deals with Shing and vice versa.
By the way, North Korean ghouls are one of the few groups in North Korea that are well fed.
Yeah.
Ironically.
So I threw that in there as kind of a side, so you guys could have gotten more information there, but that was just kind of like you just hit out, and that was fine. So it's kind of like a cameo. I just like the idea of like. That's going to be a future fucked up Delta Green operation. Go and infiltrate into North Korea and kill all those ghouls, because they're total dicks. And but I don't know. What do you think? Any thoughts on the actual raid or the before we got to that? Yeah, on the village.
So no, I
mean, one thing by that time you had gotten the actual figured out that the significance of reverb in the flower on the vampires. And you could actually waste them easily. So was that at least cathartic a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I was really worried about the raid because it wasn't like well planned. It was like, let's just throw everything we have at this spot.
Yeah,
which I kind of enjoyed.
Generally made me very nervous.
It was kind of like a modern version of the siege on Innsmouth.
Yeah.
But it was cool in that my character did like some combat effective things for once without like engineering the entire environment in my favor. Like I used Mook Shield like effectively and threw a knife and stuff. Like I rarely get that in games. It's more like I roll and get like that one and fall over my feet.
Well, I do kind of like it when humans actually openly assault, not just fight, but assault the mythos.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can do some damage.
Yeah.
And I kind of like those little brief moments where. Yeah.
Just give you the illusion of hope.
The illusion of hope, yeah.
Well,
I was, again, crushed at the end of it when I found out, no, there's just a portal you have to go through now.
Yeah, which, granted, I did love that they were all
I'm like covered in vampire blood and shot like 2 or 3 times.
But no, and I do like the inclusion of the gate, which is just this grand infernal machine that leads off to the future realm. So
who wants to go?
It's the Long Vault in here now.
Yeah,
it's just on the Plateau of Lane, which is coterminous with another universe, or the Dreamline, so it's hard to access normally. So they had to build the gate to put it there.
But yeah, that was very Mignola-esque, and I really liked that going on. So
yeah. So the actual Long Vault itself, what do you like? I of course had to use the green box generator to
of course.
I
was just the Long Box itself. I was really confused about how to. It was difficult for me to understand exactly how Shane was traveling through time.
Yeah.
So it was difficult for me to understand like the paradox that we had to engineer. So like.
That's actually one of the things.
You really kind of had to walk me through that because I'm like, all right, well, we could do that, and you're like, no, that won't work.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we could do this. You're like, no, that won't. And I'm like,
I was trying to get There's
how does time travel work then? Like, you need to explain it to me.
One of my things about the finale is like the thing about doing
because I think it was you said immortal Shing,
like,
and I was unsure like. About the resurrection part of it. I'm like, all right, he's just not going to die.
You're not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Yeah.
That's one thing about running an RPG is, in general, is sort of an observation I've had is that it's an improv play that you make up on the spot, and to a certain extent, and the problem you don't get a second take, and there's just sometimes you want to rewrite or revise something you like. You had the basic idea, but you don't get it just right, and I feel like the finales of my campaigns, especially the End of Wild Talents and then this, I feel like I wish I could rerun it to a certain degree or just edit it a little because it wasn't quite like, again, I wanted the idea of being you trap him in the vault, that creates a paradox, and then that reverts him to being a great old. He was just back when he became immortal. He just ascends, and that's it. So that was what my intent was that. He's not negated from existence. He just goes. He fulfills his original destiny. Like Shing's great crime, according to Nyarlathotep, was not destiny, which is going to be playing a pan flute for Azathoth for all of eternity.
Yeah, and that that didn't bother me in the last session so much. It was leading up to the last session. I'm like, how do we take this guy down? And like you mentioned stuff about paradox, and like it goes to the path of least resistance. I'm like, well, if Shing opens up the vault and finds Shing, that's a pretty terrible paradox. And the path of least resistance is there is no Shing.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like going for, and then you were just like, no, that's not, nope.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, then what the fuck is it, Ron? Like, why did you say all that paradox shit to me if that's not it? Like, so that was a little bit frustrating. But by the time we got to the last adventure, I knew what we needed to do.
Yeah.
But you made it clear, and I was a little bit too. I didn't even go inside the long vault. I was too busy
dealing with
arrows in me, wrestling with Tom's fucking traitor character while David bled out all over the floor. Like,
that was a pretty intense boss fight. I was using the Dragoor from Night's Black Angel, which is just like the guardian of the vampire tomes, and it's supposed to be just a hoss, and he takes like half damage, and he has like 20 to 30 points in all his pools, and he's just insane. And I'm just like, yep. Deal with that asshole.
I couldn't even walk by the time I took him down. Like, I hobbled over to him.
You took him down. Come on, relax.
So,
with a slip shake, by the way.
Yeah.
With a Yithian 500-year-old thermite.
And the thing in the freezer too. Just looking at it going like, are we gonna let this thing out?
Oh yeah, there was the little surprises you found in the long vault.
Yeah, that was
that helped.
Although I did like the choices at the end. Finally, when we were given the option.
Yeah, I want to go over that a little bit because you're obviously like, nope, I'm done. Take me off.
Well, that was the purpose of like not saving all those people from the giant earthworms of death. Like, they never died. Like, so that was like Haru's whole intention. It's like this needs to have not happened.
Yeah.
But
you chose differently, I think.
Yeah, I went ahead and just went through the portal because primarily I saw my intention with him is that his eyes were finally open to the wider world and basically to all those superhero or Sentai shows that he watched. Like, I could be a part of this now and walk right through, not knowing that he was probably screwing himself over in the end.
Probably,
but this was the adventure he wanted.
Definitely.
Yeah. This is the mythos. And Tom,
I was more thinking, my dude, Kazuo was totally addicted to a supernatural drug.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That was your insanity.
I was thinking that maybe if I keep going with this shit, I can find something to either cure it or something that I don't have to take as often.
Yeah.
Also, the negation thing allowed me to be uber Japanese for like the last 3 sessions, which we do about it, because it's like, don't worry about it, you're already dead. You're already dead. You've already died because we've already succeeded. Just act. Like, that's the most Japanese idea on the planet. And I really like that about Kano.
No, I like that too. So really,
who did David go?
I think David went with you.
Did somebody went back to life, and then one more person went with you guys?
Jason went with you guys.
Yeah. And Jason went the
and
the tough
David
route.
went with you, I think.
Yeah. And I joined Delta Green or something.
I put them in the Club Apocalypse, which was with the Fate, which if you read Delta Green Countdown or Delta Green, I think it's just the main book, is the Mythos crime organization basically run by an avatar of Nyarlathotep. Like Delta Green's literally killed the guy who's run the Fate like a dozen times, and he just shows up again. Like they've shot him in the head, they've blown his car up, and he's just like, nah. I'll get annoyed at you guys later.
So you guys are adorable.
Yeah. So they have a cult. They have an agreement. Like they'll just leave each other alone. Because even Delta Green is like, fuck it, god damn it, this ain't working.
We're out of money in our C4 budget.
Yeah, and we're running out of agents we can throw against them because they all go missing after that.
Wait, you recruited them into your ranks? Oh god, not again.
So. In terms of like the campaign overall, I mean, like, what are your lasting impressions when you think Tribes of Tokyo? What do you think?
Like character moments or
or just your impression of the campaign?
I gotta say, that it's Sylvan, but me in the tower with the Barrett rifle.
Yeah,
that's like the time I felt most badass myself.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was not get me up front. I'm scared shitless.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think of least favorite moments. I know my personal favorite, just for the moment I got to shine, was in the warehouse of the cult, trying to act like I was a salesman, and then getting out of there, I ended up just chain tasing everybody. So by sheer random luck.
Yeah.
So
you like that taser?
That was, and at this point, I just want to make. If we ever continued another campaign of this, I'm just going to become Data of this one and create a suit jacket that just springs out tasers everywhere. You're hitting innocents.
So like
I don't care.
Deus Ex weapon, except instead of claymores, it's tasers.
Tasers, yeah, tasers, exactly.
Taser vest.
The G-Can scene that.
The G-Can scene was great.
That was good.
So,
yeah.
And of course, if nothing else, one of Caleb's crowning moments of ingenuity, the electrified harpoon of death.
Teaspoon.
So.
Caleb,
I just liked doing actual spy movie stuff. Like, all right, like when we leave, like when you're bleeding after the sniper scene, we're trying to get away from the cult as the police come. Like, just walk. Don't run. Don't freak out. I know you're pouring blood out. Just walk with the crowd.
Yeah, and
no one's gonna notice.
Like proper spy shit. Not Jason Bourne shit.
Yeah, spinning urban survival or like feigning drunk to like slip a bug on people or doing
like the original. The original
right.
Professional.
Yeah, when we did drop passes and stuff for like false flagging, MT5 stuff.
MT5 was
that was a great.
I particularly liked MT5 just because again it tied into the end because the Japanese government could use them to take the fall for all that other chaos.
Yeah, so and like Black Dolphin was a ping, like it was a ping operation.
Yeah.
Like you cause something to go terribly wrong, just to see how they respond when something goes terribly wrong. Like, you don't actually utilize it.
Yeah.
So I liked doing all the spy stuff because I wanted to run the game so damn badly that I'm like, that's the way I can contribute to the story. I will make it as George Smiley in Japan as I possibly can.
I think it worked really well. So any lessons for me or anything advice or anything that you realize that you need to do before you run your campaign?
I think, the campaign as I wrote it is very, it's not so focused in Europe as the book is, but it's very world hopping.
I intentionally set this very much in Tokyo. Like I'm not even traveling outside of.
Mine would be very much world hopping and very like, all right, it's going to be set in this city. You should probably like read up on this city.
Yeah.
So it would be a little bit more homeworky, and maybe I shouldn't do that because we're not good at that. But. Yeah, that's about all I had for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say the big lesson I learned, and I think should be learned, is don't jump into a campaign in a brand new system.
Yeah. I mean, now that we're used to, like, for example, Eclipse Phase, we can just jump into a new campaign for that.
And I think really, if we did Ninth Black Age again, I could jump right into it.
Yeah.
But I just had that I just had that shit influencing everything that I did in the game and thought about it.
Yeah.
It's only now that, once again, looking back on it, that I go, okay, if that hadn't happened, I don't think I would have felt nearly as negatively.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, if a player gets off to a bad start, I mean, maybe we could talk, like, probably in the future I'll be more generous, like, with a campaign, maybe doing a reboot or something like that to allow, like, if it doesn't take off well, especially if all the players have a bad reaction or some kind of reaction to it, then just step back and rethink it or something like that. So.
Or in the same vein of Caleb talking about, just us doing our homework, which we probably should in the more involved cases.
Well, homework you can do you gain a bonus experience point or something if you post to the forum something proves that you've done some research for it.
I mean, there's that, but it's not just that. Like, Nice Black Agent rewards that type of play, like between like the techno thriller monologue and the martial arts rules.
Well, David
and then
he
did that. He tried to do stuff for driving. It's like the car goes vroom.
Yeah.
The pedal for vrooming.
I don't know. It sounded pretty Fast and Furious, which is basically all you need.
I mean, that kind of stuff, and then, but also it rewards, like, smart play, like Gumshoe does. Like, it rewards, don't go in and just start shooting shit. Like, set up a camera and watch for a while. And, like, all those things are easier if you understand, like, social cues and the layout of the city and stuff like that. And I think GMs, like, want to say, like, can we go to the so-and-so district of so-and-so and do this? And like, oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Like, I think they want to, like, go off on those player did their player read a Wikipedia thing, like, tangents. Like, my whole contact system was based on, like, researching my guy's background. Yeah. Like, I was never just like, I know a guy. Yeah. Like, it's...
I mean, for me, like, the district thing with that, aside from occasionally, like, oh, the cult headquarters are Minato Ward or whatever, like, the only few districts I used in Tokyo that were specific, like, Akihabara, and then, like, the bar district, because I actually did research about it. There's, like, a section with, like, 400 bars per square block, you know, of, like, it's just ridiculously density, you know, and there's just riot police walking around, because it's that seedy, even for Tokyo, and... so for me, like, aside from that, I tried to avoid, like, you needed to actually know the name or anything like that. You could just, like, I go to City Hall, I go to the place, or I go to there. Maybe there, you had some ideas?
Yeah, I would just say in turn for players who may not be that familiar with the setting, maybe just a couple other handouts saying, like, here's some notable places, like in this case, like the Akihabara district or the one bar district, or for certain of the other buildings, because I like how you explained it during the game. Yeah. But it was kind of noticing Jason a little in this case, kind of glazing over, like, I don't know this place. Yeah. Or I'm not familiar with it. Like putting the hand ups, like with Sunshine 60 or Tokyo 5. Or
I think a lesson I've learned is that before I run a campaign, I'd want to make sure people were okay playing in other cultures. Like, I wouldn't want the whole game to be set in, like, Springfield's hotbed of espionage and crime and vampirism. Like,
well, now I want to find out about that.
No, thank you. Like,
it's all crocodile dude.
It's called the Springfield Underground.
Like my plan for the campaign was to, like, go to America at times, but, like, you go to a specific American city, just like you go to Prague or Cyprus or, like, other stuff. But if people were just like, why isn't everyone named Dave? Like, I would not want to deal with that as a GM. And you are a saint for doing it.
Oh, yeah, it's like...
Well, for me, like, all I did, aside from giving, like, people more American nicknames, or, you know, nicknames that would be easier for them to identify, or, like, just referring them by their rank or whatever, I also made it clear that, or I tried to make it clear that I would only, like, test you on the knowledge that I actually said in the game. So, like, if I said Akihabara, I'd say what Akihabara was. So later on in the same game session, if you're like, okay, so you go to Akihabara, you're like, what? Well, you weren't paying fucking attention, you know, or whatever. So, like, if there's that, you know, if you listen to what I said, then that's all I would, like, require you to know. Like, you didn't, and if it was something just a cameo or a reference, like a maid cafe, I didn't, like, require you to know what a maid cafe was. But
like, just to do the conspiracy, you have to take notes.
Yeah.
Like, you have to take notes in that game.
Yeah, I wrote, like, 25 pages of notes for this campaign.
Well, not as a player. Like, there's no way to do things unless you take notes. Like, you don't know who's connected to what. They're just all random names. You gotta, like...
No,
you have to pay attention to that kind of stuff. So, like, if everybody wants, like, to play the James Bond version of the game... Yeah. Like, where you're just like, I have a jetpack, fuck you, like, yeah, okay, I guess you could do that. I don't know how you could get a whole campaign out of, you know, watch laser, like...
No, we're wanting to do the Argo version of this.
Yeah,
like, one thing I did, like, with the front organizations that you investigated was that I gave them, like, easy to remember nicknames, like, or names that, like, the Society for Purity and Justice, like, that's the international. I didn't give them their actual Japanese name, and, like, some of them would be like Yamagata Development Center. It's a cramming school, which is, like, pretty easy to understand what a cram school is. It's where you learn. It's
a good idea to have, like, translations and stuff, which is a problem we've run into, like, writing Eclipse Phase stuff, where it's like everything is like this polyglot of a dozen languages. Like, it gets difficult to juggle them.
This is true. Any final thoughts on Tribes of Tokyo? Do you think?
I'm glad I could look back at it and revise my original opinion, because because anyone
I've grown from the scars.
Because anyone who knows my initial feelings of the game was I was right up there with Jason.
Yeah. All right, very good. Aaron?
No, I had a lot of fun with it, especially at the end. at the end. And again, going back to the espionage portion of it. No, I absolutely love those incidents where you couldn't really get out. Like, oh, they're coming back in the office. I've been able to hack. Hang out a window.
Yeah.
Am I here for 5 hours? Yeah.
That was just like on you guys. Like, I didn't even have anything that important in that office.
And I got thrown out of the bar.
Like the reason why you
It has to be in here.
The club was just like where they sold the drugs. That's why you found the place. And you're just like, there has to be something here. Like, I didn't have anything.
Where's the hidden panel?
Like,
Hi, Ross.
We had to be thorough.
Hi, Ross. We're player characters.
I know. I rolled with it, but I'm just saying.
Where's the button that dispenses the
and
drugs?
Jason-
I just want to say, if I ever get to run mine, my conspirament is full blown, like 10 layers on the bottom,
Jesus.
and it is color coded.
Oh my.
The flowchart, the main flowchart. There are sub flowcharts.
Oh,
Does it cover a
It
wall?
is color coded.
oh, it's going to make No Evil look like a walk in the park, is it? Because we can't come back from backups if we die.
I'm never gonna run it.
Well, yeah, because red marks. All right. And any final thoughts? Caleb?
No.
All right, cool. Well, that has been RPPR episode 97, Tribes of Tokyo Post-Mortem. And we'll see you guys next time. Yeah.
Bye.